Hey guys, what's going on? Andy Baker here of andybaker.com and owner of Kingwood Strength and Conditioning, and I want to give you a really quick update of what I'm going to be doing with the channel for the next few weeks, next few months. So as most of you guys know that have followed this, back in May, or it's September right now, or October actually right now, back in May I ruptured my right bicep tendon. I had to have it surgically reattached. I was out of commission for several weeks of not being able to train at all, and then for a few months after that was really only able to do light stuff. Right now I'm around 4.5 months post-op, and so basically I'm back to being able to do everything. I have very few limitations now, other than the fact that my strength is just way down from where it was before the injury and before I had to kind of take a prolonged break from training. So kind of in order to get myself back on track, I have signed up for a USAPL powerlifting meet in San Antonio on February 24th. And so what I'm going to do is I've already started my training for that, and I'm going to document each week here on the channel. So the way I'm going to do that, I'm not going to put out a video for every single workout. I'm probably going to batch a week's worth of training at a time. So I'll film all my workouts for that week. Most weeks it'll be 4 workouts. Some weeks it might be 3, some it might be 5 if I'm trying to play catch up a little bit. But basically it'll be 4 workouts per week. I'll film all those and then just kind of condense it all into a training video, just so you guys can get a sense for what I'm doing for the meet prep. And so I've already got week 1 down. It's already been filmed, so it's at the end of this. I'll show the training for you guys. So basically right now the goal is just to put some muscle mass back on and to get my strength back up to a reasonable level. As far as weight classes go, not sure yet. It'll either be at 205 pounds or 230 pounds. So when I started meet prep, I was at 223 pounds, but a lot of that was pretty fluffy. So I was carrying a little bit more body fat than what would be ideal. So what I'm going to do for right now is, for about the first month or so, is I'm going to be dieting pretty hard. I'm already down to 218. And then I'm just going to see where my weight winds up after I get my body fat back down. So if I'm down around 210, 205, then I'll probably just compete at 205. If I'm closer to around 215ish or so, or a little bit north of that, then I might decide to go ahead and go up to 230. But I'm a little bit undersized at 230. I think probably 205 is my sweet spot. But it's just hard for me to keep my body weight down that low, and I'm not so sure I want to stay on the strict diet that it takes me to keep my body weight down at 205 all through the holidays and all that sort of thing. So we're just going to play it by ear. It'll either be 205 or 230, and I'll kind of keep you guys updated as we go. If you want to follow the written training log to go along with the videos, I am keeping a log over at startingstrength.com in the competitive lifters forum. So if you want to check out the written log compared to what I'm doing here, you can do that. I might put a written version of the log on my blog at andybaker.com. Not sure yet. I don't have it up there yet. But anyway, so that's enough of that. We're going to go ahead and get to the training. Hope you guys enjoy. Let me know if you have questions or comments or anything about what's going on in the comments section. And talk to you soon. All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. So here was week 1, day 1. First priority for me was to take out a single on the bench and see where I was at. I have not done anything heavy in many months, so I needed a starting point just to kind of gauge where I was at. So I was pretty happy I was able to work up to 315. I did this touch and go, so obviously in the meet it's going to have to be paused, so it's probably a little less than that, maybe 300 or something paused, but we're going to start working on more pauses in training, and then I'll test some pause benches here pretty soon. But for today, it was just going to be touch and go, especially since I'm training alone and going heavy like this. I didn't want to risk pausing for too long, so pretty happy with 315 for today. Following that, wanted to get in some volume, so I went to some speed work, which again I have not done in a long time, so speed work felt great. This was 10 sets of 3 reps at 185 pounds. I forgot the percentage on that. It's like 60 or something like that. So 10 sets, 3 reps, moving the bar as fast as possible. I didn't film all 10 sets. I'll spare you guys that. I think I filmed the last 3 that I did. So this is set 8, 9, and 10. You know, the goal here is just to get a lot of work done in a short period of time, so kind of get some training density in there, and then obviously work on moving the bar faster. Up until this point with my training, I've kind of been taking it easy and you know, not wanting to get re-injured or anything like that, so everything's been nice and smooth and controlled. So the speed work was a nice contrast to the way that I've been training, and I've always liked to throw in some speed work as a way of accumulating volume during my training cycles, so especially on the bench. But I'm going to be using some speed work mixed in with other more traditional volume accumulation methods throughout the entire training cycle. I'm going to keep a little bit of everything in there. So, but this is just one of my favorites. Watching the watch there, making sure I'm not going too long or too short. Just kind of watch the old Timex there and make sure I'm getting about 30 seconds. So. Following the speed work, I started in on the assistance exercises. So started off with some incline dumbbell presses. I think these were 75s or 80s, something like that. I did 3 sets here. Again, I'm just going to film. I'm not going to film every single set of every single exercise that I do. For one, I don't want to bore you guys to death, and also it's just too time consuming during the training to have the camera rolling all the time. So. But I think I did 3 sets of like 10 to 15 reps here, 75, 80 pounds. Just get a good stretch there at the bottom and a good hard contraction at the top. This is an exercise, not a lift, so you're trying to feel the muscle work the whole time. And then went on to some lat pull downs and some dips. I supersetted these for 3 sets apiece. I think I did like 3 sets of 10 on lat pull, 3 sets of 10 dips, something like that. But just kind of trying to get some work in, trying to build some muscle mass back, get a little volume in, build a little conditioning with the supersets, and just save some time. I don't always superset. It's just mainly a time saver. I don't think there's really anything to it from a physical standpoint other than it builds a little conditioning. But it's a good time saver on the assistant stuff if you can to superset a little bit. And then follow that up with dips. Just body weight today. I'll get these a little bit heavier as the training cycle goes along, but got to build back my endurance a little bit on my triceps. So pretty happy with the dips. First time I tried to do these a couple months ago after the injury, I got exactly 0. So I've worked myself back up here pretty good. But these are one of my favorite assistance movements for the bench and for the press. And then ended today's workout with a superset of seated dumbbell curls and tricep extensions. So that's the injured arm right there. So you can see the strength is not there. That's only 25-pound dumbbells, and before I would have been probably using 45-pound dumbbells for these or something in that neighborhood. So the strength is not there, but you can see the size is coming back a little bit. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to keep working. Keep trying to get that bicep strong again. So I think I did 3 sets of this, and then I did 3 sets of triceps. Here I like to do them. I do them at all different angles. Sometimes I do them flat. Sometimes I do them seated overhead. Today I just happen to lie down on the incline bench, so I like this angle. It provides a really good stretch on the tricep. So if you're going to do these, just take them down super deep right there. Get a good stretch. Keep the elbows kind of tucked in. That'll keep the stress on that inner head of the tricep, and then keep the elbows back and don't let them drift forward as it gets heavier. And again, you can't use a ton of weight on these, but at the end of a workout, it's kind of a good way to finish off the triceps. And then coming up here in the next video is going to be, I didn't film the whole workout on this day, but this was week 1. Day 2, this was a testing day for the squat and the deadlift, so I have not had anything heavier than 405 on my back for probably, I don't know, 5 months, something like that. It's been a while, so I wasn't going to go crazy today. I didn't know where I was going to be, so I just worked up to 455. Again, just to kind of have a starting place so I kind of know where I'm at, just because I do some percentage-based work, so I needed something a little bit heavy to go. 455 was, it felt heavy, but it moved pretty good, so should be pretty quick and easy up from here. And then from there I went to the deadlift. I had no idea on here because my grip strength is really pretty shitty right now, especially on that right hand, and I've switched my grip over to where my left hand is supinated, my right hand's over the top. I'm not going to supinate that injured bicep anymore, so my grip strength is not great right now, but it's coming back. And this was 495 that I was able to work up to. It moved pretty smooth. It was heavy, but it went pretty smooth. And I finished off with some accessory work after that I did not record. This was day 3, starting off with some paused bench presses. I did 5 sets of 5 reps today at 225. So trying to work on that pause, build a little bit of volume in there with a little bit of heavier weight. So just your traditional 5x5. It wasn't real heavy. I was actually able to keep these to 1 minute rest. And first set moved pretty easy. I did about a 3-second pause at the bottom, 2 or 3 seconds. And then I think this is the last set. So I filmed the first set and the last set, which I'll probably do that a lot. So I'm not having to film every single set again. So you can see on this one, on 1 minute rest, by the time I got to the 5th set, it started to slow down a little bit on the bar speed, but still moved pretty good. Definitely slow down. And then following that, I went to the incline. Again, I just loaded up 225. Wanted to get a few more reps on this one. I wound up doing 3 sets of 8. This is the final set of 8, and you can see when I get to the end of it, I barely finished this one. So the first set of 8 was actually pretty easy. By the time I got to the third one, it had slowed down quite a bit. So here's the third set of 8 reps on the incline. Love inclines for bench assistance. Those and dips are probably my 2 favorites. You can see that right arm there, which is the injured one, is lagging. See, now it locks out. I'll have another one. Yeah, it got heavy. And then went to some upper back work, seated row machine that I have at my gym. This is a Life Fitness model I really like. I like the stretch and the contraction on this. So a lot of the back work that I'm going to do on my upper body days is going to be like chest supported and stuff like that to try to lay off the low back, and I'll do some heavier barbell rows, probably coupled with my deadlift day. But I'm going to probably train the back 3 or 4 times per week. I'm going to work it hard because I really feel like I lost a lot of muscle mass in my back while I was injured, oddly enough. So I'm gonna work it pretty hard. Probably a little bit of upper back work each day. So chest supported row here. I think I did 3 sets of 12, something like that. And then went to the V-grip pull down. I think I did 3 sets of 10 or 12 reps here. This is another one of my favorites. I love the stretch that you get at the top. This is the one, if you'll notice, I pull the V handle down to my upper abs. I don't pull it down to my upper chest. Like if I have the bar, the long bar, I pull it down like to the collarbone, but on the V-grip, try pulling the bar down to your upper abdomen, in the lower part of the chest. You'll feel it a lot more in your lower back. Always get that really, really good stretch at the top, and then pull down to those, pull down to the upper abs, and it hits your lower lats in a really, really unique way. It's this only exercise I know that really gets into those lower lats well. A few others do, but this is probably my favorite, so I'll use this one quite a bit. I'll probably have some lighter days like today where it was like 12 reps, and then some other days I'm going to go a little heavier, like 6 to 8 rep range. And that was it for that day, I think. And then we're on to day 4. And this was my squat volume day. So I just did kind of an over warm-up triple. So the plan was more speed work today, but I wanted to get a little something heavier on my back. I want to say this is around 85%. So of that 455 single. So this is about 390, I think. 385, something like that. And then I just did a set of 3 here. Weight moved pretty good. But these over warm-ups make the speed work that I do afterwards feel pretty light. So Just did that triple there at 390, and then back the weight off. Now you'll see here, back the weight off to 315, and here I did 6 sets of 3 reps. Again, I think I only filmed maybe 1 or 2 sets of these, but I did 6 sets of 3 reps. You'll see here it's under control on the way down, and then you're going to try to accelerate the load on the way up, so you just work a little bit of speed into there. Again, this is just a good way to get some volume in. So I'm kind of popping my hips there at the top, trying to accelerate the load. You want to try to move it as fast as you can without having the bar fly off your back. You can see it come off my traps a little bit there at the top. So did the speed work here. I only took about a minute to a minute and a half in between sets, so definitely a conditioning effect on this as well. So the weight was never heavy, and it moved pretty fast. I think this was the last set, so this was set number 6 here. So the weight was not heavy, but I was getting a little bit tired at this point just because I'm not used to this much volume on squats, so my conditioning's shitty right now, but it should get better. And then moved on to some pause squats after this. I did 2 triples. Bumped the weight down a little bit to 300, and I did some pause squats here. I believe I did like a 5-second hold at the bottom, so I'll probably keep these in the cycle as well. I'm liking the pause squats with the long hold at the bottom. So, but I was having a little bit of mercy on myself today, not going crazy with the weights, because I have not done this much squat volume in a long time, and I just wanted to be able to walk for the weekend. So I didn't go nuts on the weight. I got some pretty good pauses there at the bottom, trying to hold a good position. Here was the second set of pause squats. I've got time to build up the weight. I've got about 5 months until the meet, so I didn't need to start today going crazy. Get myself conditioned and not get re-injured is the main thing by being stupid again. Notice on these, you still want to try to get some hip drive on these pause squats. A lot of guys, when they pause squat, they'll wind up leading up with their chest. So maintain the same mechanics that you normally would and drive out of the hole with the hips. And then after the squatting was done, I got some leg curls in again, just like my upper back. I'm trying to build a little more muscle mass on the back side there, get those hamstrings built up a little bit. So I'll be throwing in some like leg curls or glute ham raises and stuff like that in the training cycle. Here I did, I want to say 3 sets of 6 or 8, something like that on here, but trying to control it on the way down, control that eccentric, and then fast on the way up on here. But trying to get some extra hamstring work without killing the low back. Here's the final day of week 1. This was day 5, and here I was doing some presses, and I did 15 singles on the press with a 20-second rest in between. So this is the first 3 that I did. So again, just some kind of dynamic effort type stuff, working a little bit of speed while getting some good volume in. If you do these 15 singles with a 20-second rest period, that gets you 15 good quality high-speed reps in a 5-minute period, which is a pretty good way to get your volume in, and it will completely roast your shoulders, but it actually doesn't fatigue your triceps that much. And so, like for me, I had some close grip benches planned today after this, and I didn't want to wear out my triceps too much before I did the close grips. Because right now, being kind of deconditioned, one of those things that dies out quickly is your tricep strength. So they tend to gas out pretty quick. So I was trying to preserve that a little bit, and plus I just like the speed work. I really like the singles. Yeah, the singles across for speed like this on really short rest periods is a really good way to train the press for some volume in there. So although I'm not competing in the press anytime soon, I have plans on doing a strength lifting meet after the powerlifting meet is done, and so I want to keep the press trained. I don't want to get too far away from the press on this. So it's already really low. This is only 170 pounds, so my weights are already really down. So if I can get that a little bit stronger at the same time I'm doing everything else, that'll be good. But the press is a good assistance movement for the bench. It's good overall movement. You know, obviously overall, keep the shoulder strong, keep them healthy. This has really helped my shoulder rehab after the surgery. I had my arm in a sling for about 8 weeks, internally rotated, and it's actually taken longer to heal the shoulder than it did the bicep from the recovery. So keeping the presses in is important. And then went on to some more lat pull downs after this. Again, just trying to get some more back work. Today's lat pulls were a little bit lighter and a little bit more volume. I think I did 5 or 6 sets of 10 reps and on a short rest period. So I think I did like a minute of rest. So I lowered the weight a little bit, up the volume, and decreased the rest time between sets just for a little bit different effect. So I think I just filmed 2 sets here on the pull down machine. But I did the presses today, and then I went on to my upper back work here doing the lat pull downs, obviously. And then after the lat pull downs, I went on to some rear delt work, which I'm going to keep in there as well, probably once a week, do something that hits the rear delts. And then I finished with my close grip benches. So that just gave me some time to rest between the presses and the close grips. So I wasn't moving right into my overhead work, right into my close grip bench. It's not that big of a deal if you do, but this just gives you a little more time. Here's a rear delt work, doing them face down on an incline bench just to keep things a little more strict. I think I did 3 sets of about 15 reps here. This is just good exercise. Again, overall, rear delts gets the traps in there a little bit. This is an area I'm trying to build back up. These are light, but they get tiring at high reps. You have to use high reps on these, really. It's just hard to produce enough fatigue with a heavy weight, so you got to use volume and reps in order to create any fatigue in those muscles. And then finish with some close grips here. 3 sets of 8 reps at 225. So I was pretty happy with how these moved. This is the final set of 8, I believe. So this was at the end of the workout. And the end of the week. Did 5 workouts this week, but in the future I'll be doing probably just 4. 2 upper, 2 lower. All right, guys, thanks for watching.